Hi guys, today I have a challenge for Spanish learners. So this is mainly for people who are at the intermediate to advanced level, but beginners, feel free to keep on watching. The task is very simple. I'm going to show you a 10-second clip of a video. The video is of an interview with an NBA basketball player, Ricky Rubio, and all you have to do is write down every single word that the interviewer says during this 10-second clip. So whatever he says in Spanish, you just have to write down those exact words in Spanish. The rules are you're allowed to watch the clip as many times as you want, and you're also allowed to use the internet to look up anything you want. I'll also put the link to the entire video in the description so you can listen to the parts before and after the clip to help you and give you some context. Some hints or some helpful techniques. I recommend listening to it many times. Just put your cursor at the beginning of the clip and just keep clicking and looping it over and over. I recommend, if you can't figure out what words are being said, write down the sounds that you hear. So even if you can't make out words, write down, oh, I hear an S here, I hear a T here. And I also recommend looking up unfamiliar words or phrases or sounds online. If you want a more in-depth explanation of these hints, you should read my article on audio dissection, which I've also linked in the description, which gives you a very comprehensive explanation of how to go about approaching these sorts of listening challenges, if you want to call them. So here's the video, listen to it, and then I'll give you the answer in a few seconds.
Iniciaste viniendo de la banca, pero ahora que ya Rick Adelman te ha puesto como titular, ¿qué tan importante es para ti eso?
Okay, so hopefully now you've tried your best to figure out what the interviewer is saying in this clip. So if you're like me, this was a lot harder than I would have expected. It took me, many times. I had to listen to it many times, and I had to look up things to actually figure out what he was saying. So the words that he's actually saying are: Iniciaste viniendo de la banca, pero ahora que ya Rick Adelman te ha puesto como titular, ¿qué tan importante es para ti eso? So that means you started coming from the bench, but now that Rick Adelman is the coach of the Timberwolves, now that Rick Adelman made you a starter, que ya Rick Adelman te ha puesto como titular, how important is that for you? ¿Qué tan importante es eso para ti? So yeah, that's what he's actually saying. This is a very fundamental skill in language learning. And my point, that is being able to write down exactly what you hear, or being able to put what you hear into some sort of written form. This is absolutely fundamental, and this is really the essence of listening comprehension. When we say, oh, I understood, it's not enough to just understand the big idea. You really need to be meticulous about it until you can understand every single word that's being said. So the point of making this video is to show that listening comprehension, it's not just something that you can acquire after years and years of input, but rather it's a skill that you can train with practice. And that's the point of the audio dissection article that I wrote to explain this technique. I realized after I wrote it that other people have published some materials about it. They call it micro-listening, so I recommend looking that up as well. So when you're trying to learn a foreign language, don't just take for granted that your listening comprehension will improve with time. In many cases, the only way to improve significantly in a short amount of time is to do this sort of audio dissection practice, where you literally dissect every word that's being said in a small clip of audio. You watch it over and over again, and you train your ears to pick up the pronunciation changes that are happening when native speakers speak. So if you like these sorts of audio challenges, I've written down a bunch of other timestamps in the description box from that very same interview with Ricky Rubio of areas that I think are kind of tricky for non-native Spanish speakers to pick up. So take a look at those. I also find it very interesting that this sort of audio comprehension practice is never done in schools. I've never been in a language class where I was asked to basically listen to a clip of native audio and just be able to write down every single word that I heard. Maybe for like very simple clips, but not of native level speech. And that's really what we need to strive for if we're trying to aim for a maximum fluency. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.